quick warning to parents that today, on the anniversary of Roe versus Wade, we will be talking about the reality that case brought into our country. You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. It is also the anniversary of the case here in America of Roe versus Wade. Today on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are going to continue to talk about the theological virtue of hope. Yesterday, with the help of Saint Agnes, we talked about how hope means keeping our eyes locked on heaven, knowing that God alone can save us, that this world is not our home, but our home is heaven. Today, we are going to talk about what hope means, what that word means. Now, oftentimes, you probably have used the word hope, right? I hope I get this gift for Christmas. I hope we're having tacos for supper. And yes, this is a good and effective way to use the word hope, but it can confuse us about what it means when we talk about hope as a virtue. Now, when we talk about hope as a theological virtue, and remember, a theological virtue means a good trait or behavior that we have simply as a gift from God. Remember, God alone can give us the gift of these virtues. And so being hopeful in a virtuous way is more than just being optimistic. Do you know what the word optimistic means? Optimistic just means, well, we oftentimes say it means hopeful. It means looking on the bright side. Like you could be optimistic that you're going to get what you want for Christmas. You could be optimistic that you will do well on a spelling test. It's not really based on fact. It's just sort of based on a good feeling. Well, that's not what the virtue of hope is. And today, my friends, is an important day that we talk about what true virtuous hope is. Today is January 22nd. Way back in 1973, which was 46 years ago, an important case went through the Supreme Court here in the United States. That case we refer to as Roe v. Wade. That case ruled that it was legal, meaning the law was going to allow abortion here in the United States. Abortion is a sad and terrible reality that we live with. It gives a woman a right to end a pregnancy or end the life of the baby that is growing inside of her. Now, we talked about, several months ago, we talked about how, unfortunately, many women are in desperate situations where they feel this is their only choice. They don't have any support. And we should never blame the women that get abortions. And yet, it is a sad and terrible reality that babies die before they are born. And in fact, many, 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 many babies die before they are born. If we see this as a true form of death, then it is the most common way to die in our country. Now, let's talk about the issue of hope. There are two ways to use the word hope here. In our common way of using hope, we could say, I'm hopeful that Roe v. Wade is overturned and abortion ends. That could just mean I'm optimistic. I don't really have any facts, but I feel good like it might happen. Okay, that is not the virtuous way to use the word hope. The virtuous way to use the word hope, remember, it puts all trust in God. It sees Him as the one that can do mighty things, and yet it remembers that our home is heaven. So we say instead, I place all my hope in God, that He will use this as part of His plan, and that He will use His power to end abortion. I put all my hope in God, that he will end abortion, and I am willing to be his tool and for him to use me in this holy work. Now that is what hope is. We put all of our trust in God. We allow him to use us, but we acknowledge that he is the one that is going to end this, not us. And so, my friends, today on the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, I'd like to challenge you to seriously, and maybe even a couple of times today, pray for an end to abortion. Not only that, but you can pray in specific ways. Number one, you can pray for women caught in terrible situations that are considering abortion. Pray for them that they can find support and find strength. Pray for the babies that are in danger of abortion. Pray for the lawmakers that have the power to overturn this law. Pray for those that work in pregnancy crisis centers, those that help women that are deciding if they're going to have an abortion. Give them the right words to say and help them to be convincing and really save those babies' lives. And finally, pray that God can show you how you can play a role in this battle to end abortion and to truly teach all of us here in this country and around the world that every life matters, no matter how small, no matter who the parents are, every life matters.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be. And finally, a quick note to the grown-ups. First of all, thank you for listening to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. I ask that you please consider sharing this podcast with another Catholic family you know. Send them an email, a text, or simply mention it the next time you see them. Please join me in the mission of helping each Catholic child truly sprout into the wonderful human that God created them to be.